Adjust. The engineer adjusts the fuel supply using the fuel rack. We must adjust the governor after the overhaul. Align. The fitter is aligning the coupling between the pump and the electric motor. If the shafts are not properly aligned, vibrations and bearing wear may occur. Assemble. The third engineer assembled the purifier after cleaning all the parts. We are assembling the piston unit according to the manufacturer's manual. Assess. Before starting the operation, we need to assess the risks. The chief engineer assessed the damage after the failure. Bend. Be careful not to bend the copper tubes while installing them. Don't bend the hose too much, so as not to damage it. Bleed. We need to bleed the air from the fuel system before starting the engine. Always bleed the cooling system after refilling it with water. Block. Dirt can block the fuel filters if the fuel is of poor quality. The pipe had to be cleaned as it was blocked with carbon deposits. Blow through. The engineer will blow through the pipeline with compressed air to remove the remaining fuel. The hose was blown through after the transfer of fuel. Bolt. The fitter bolted the cover tightly after replacing the gasket. The engineer forgot to bolt the guard plate, which could cause a serious accident. Break down. If the main air compressor breaks down, we will have to use the standby one. The pump broke down because of a worn-out bearing. Brush. The crew brushed the soot from the exhaust pipe. Always brush the filters gently to avoid damaging them. Burn. The flame in the boiler must burn steadily. We burn sludge in the incinerator. Calibrate. The electrician is calibrating the fuel flow meter to ensure accurate readings. How often do you calibrate these pressure gauges? Change. The viscosity of oil changes when the temperature increases or decreases. We need to change the oil filters after 500 running hours. Check. The engineer checks the levels of all liquids during his watch. Check the alignment of the coupling before starting the engine. Clean. The motorman cleans the piston to remove carbon deposits. How do you clean the fuel filters? Coat. The pipes were coated with anti-corrosive paint. Before painting, the metal surface must be cleaned and coated with primer. Compress. The compressor compresses air for the starting system. Do not compress the gasket too much, it may lose its sealing properties. Connect. Connect the fire hose to the hydrant. Never connect electrical wires while the power is on. Cool. The fan is used to cool the motor during operation. Sea water cools fresh water in the cooling system. Correct. The electrician corrected the wrong wiring on the starter panel. How can I correct a mistake in the logbook? Degrease. Always degrease the surface before applying paint or sealant. The fitter degreased the flange faces with solvent. Discharge. Never discharge oily water without proper separation. Don't discharge the battery completely, it will reduce its service life. Disconnect. The electrician disconnected the power supply before repair. Disconnect the wire from the motor. Disengage. The coupling automatically disengages when overload occurs. Make sure that the turning gear is disengaged. Dismantle. The crew dismantled the motor for maintenance. Don't dismantle the equipment without following the isolation procedure. Drain. Drain the cooling water before opening the heat exchanger. The engineer drained the oil from the sump during maintenance. Drill. We will have to drill some holes in the bulkhead to install the cables. The fitter drilled holes for the new bolts. Dry. After cleaning the filters, dry them with compressed air. The ETO cleaned and dried the winding. Ease. Ease the tightening of the bolts to prevent thread damage. The engineer eased the tension of the belt to replace the pulley. Engage. Engage the turning gear and turn the engine with the indicator cocks open. The coupling engages automatically when the speed increases. Examine. The engineer examined the cylinder liner for scratches and scores. Examine the bearings carefully for any signs of wear.